Hello, and Merry Me. Today, what we're doing is we're going to make from scratch homemade cinnamon rolls. In here, we'll mix the flour, the sugar, the salt, the yeast, the water, the milk, and the butter. In this bowl, I've already mixed up my my filling that I will put on and in our cinnamon rolls. We'll roll them flat, add this topping into it, and then we'll roll them, and then we'll cut them. What I've mixed up here is a square of cream cheese, about 2 cups of sugar, a stick of butter, and about 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. We've mixed it all up and we've got it pretty well creamed. One of the reasons today we are making homemade cinnamon rolls is to go with this wonderful pot of chili I have just finished making. Does that not smell good? It's a beef and sausage chili. It is absolutely wonderful. Today is a perfect day for this kind of stuff. For the simple fact it's cold, it's chilly, and nothing better than the smell of cinnamon coming out of the oven when the day is so cold and chilly. There we have our dry ingredients all mixed up in the bowl. Now we'll move the dry ingredients from the table and get the wet ingredients, the milk, the butter, and the hot water to activate the yeast that we have in the bowl already. Okay, here we have 2 cups of hot water, about 2 tablespoons of butter, and a cup of milk. What we want to do is we want to mix this all up. Of course, it needs to be warm to activate the yeast. Make sure it's not real hot. Well, it's a little too hot at the moment, so we're going to have to set it right over here for a second or two, because we don't want it to scald the yeast. You want it warm, but not scalding. Okay, our liquid is just about the right temperature. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mix this in here very slowly. A little bit, then we're going to do a little stir, and then we're going to mix a little bit more, and then we're going to stir this all up. See, the yeast is bubbling. Yeah, this isn't very easy to do one-handed while I hold the camera, but we can do it. Now, what you want to do is you want to throw some flour out here on your cutting board. Because now comes the fun part. You get to knead your dough. Yes, my hands are very clean. Now what we'll do is we will turn our dough out on our cutting board. And we'll work our dough. We'll work it for about 5 to 6 minutes. Need a little bit more flour here. Sprinkle some more flour on it. Just enough to dust it. Then take and cut your dough in half, like that, and work with your first half. You're going to flatten it. And you're going to work it, and work it, and work it. And then you're going to go get your rolling pin. Now that we have our dough all rolled out, what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our mixture here, and we're going to spread it on it. You know, you can spread it on there thick, or you can spread it on thin, however you want your cinnamon rolls. Now, you don't want to do the actual sealing part. You don't want too much of this mixture down on it. You just mainly want it up here where you're going to make your roll at. Now, get a knife. Make sure your dough's all the way up there. Take a knife and cut it, the excess. Now you start to roll. You roll your cinnamon roll. You roll your dough with your cinnamon mixture into it. Got just a little too much on the roll part here, so we'll cut that part off. Bring that over here, and then work it just like so. And we'll take our roll, flatten it out a little, set that to the side, stretch it out, set our already greased pan. Then we're going to take and we're going to cut cinnamon rolls. And remember, they will expand, so leave them room to expand on the pan. And then when they come out of the oven, drizzle them with some powdered sugar that you mixed up, powdered sugar and butter. As you can see the spacing, because your dough still has to rise. Okay, that makes That makes 13 cinnamon rolls. Now we'll get our second batch. Mix that back in with our second batch of flour that we set aside. Knead it really, really well. And start to make our second batch to finish filling our pan. Now that you're wondering, what do I do with this leftover dough that I have here? Well, you take and mix it all together with a few of the ends, the remaining cream cheese and cinnamon. You grease your pan and you make bubble bread. A wonderful, delicious little recipe. All you do is you just cut little pieces off. Roll them like this and just put it in there. Just little bitty tiny pieces. A lot of people call this monkey bread. I call it bubble bread because you're kind of forming it like little bubbles. And this way there is absolutely no waste. And you have cinnamon rolls and bubble bread, deep, fresh out of the oven, nice and warm since it's so cold and chilly outside. And we have a nice, wonderful pan of cinnamon rolls, as you can see. Now we'll set them in on the table where it's nice and warm so they can rise. And I'll get a cover for them. As you can see, we've already got 4 loaves of homemade bread starting to rise. I love to do bread when it's cold outside. Now we'll come back and finish our monkey bread. Children especially love this recipe. I'm saying, oh, the pan's full. You can't put no more in there. Oh, no. We make a bubble castle. Second layer. Just put them anywhere you want to in there. Because your bottom layer rises, so will your top layer. And then you'll be able to pull off a piece and sample this wonderful little bubble bread. As you can see, very, very wonderful, 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 wonderful. And there you have it from the kitchen of Lady LaFay. Homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch and bubble bread. Merry meet and merry part. Now's the stage that we wait for the rolls and the monkey bread to rise. It should only take about an hour and a half. What is it about the smell of bread that really hooks you in? Whether it is being seduced by the lovely smells of bread, wafering through a bakery, or waking up in the morning to the enchanting smell of homemade breads. You really can't beat that feeling. I very much enjoy making bread and have been making bread on my own for years now. I find bread making is truly satisfying and enjoyable experiences, and one that I want to share with you. Understanding the magical properties of yeast, which flour to use. Each type of flour will have its own unique qualities and characteristics. One important characteristic is the level of gluten or protein in the flour. Gluten is an important property of flour that, in combination with yeast, allows the bread dough to rise into a nice leveling loaf of bread. Without the effects of gluten and yeast, your bread will likely turn out flat as a pancake. Yes, I've had that happen several times. Yes, our monkey bread is rising very well, and our cinnamon rolls are rising. Our buns are rising very nicely. Our 4 loaves are starting to rise. The gluten is able to develop a network of strands because of the proteins, which occur naturally in wheat flour. These networks of strands then trap the gases, which are released by the yeast used. This is what causes your bread dough to rise nicely and create a well-shaped loaf of bread. Now, most of you are wondering what some of the magical properties are. Well, the magical properties of the cinnamon that we used in our cinnamon rolls, they are used for spirituality, success, healing, power, psychic powers, opening of the third eye. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, cinnamon is also a lust herb, but mainly in my home it's protection and love of family. And that's the magical properties of the cinnamon that we've used in the flour, which we all know is of the god and of the goddess. And combined, they make a wonderful treat. And they fill your home with such delicious, delicious smells. And they'll be going in the oven in about, 25 to 30 minutes. And there you have a basket of biscuits or dinner rolls and bread to offer to your family or to your coven. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That is how our bread and our rolls turned out. Now it's time to check the oven because we have our monkey bread baking. Oh, it's just now starting to brown, looking good. And then after our monkey bread is done, we will put in our cinnamon rolls. Our cinnamon rolls turned out absolutely wonderful. Our breads did. And of course, I should be filming a full pan, but Vernon and grandson Eli could not wait until they even cooled down. They had to have theirs now while it was all hot and gooey and sticky and yummy, 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 yummy cinnamon rolls. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I hope you like this presentation of how to make breads and cinnamon rolls. Until we meet again, merry meet, merry part, and blessed be.